There's a strange paradox about intelligence that most people never talk about. The people who are often the most intelligent don't always look intelligent in the traditional sense. They may not be the loudest in the room. They may not show off their knowledge, and sometimes they even doubt themselves more than anyone else. But inside their minds, something very different is happening. They notice patterns others miss. They reflect on conversations long after they end. They sense emotional tension before anyone says a word. This kind of intelligence rarely shows up on an IQ test. In fact, many people who have it grow up believing something is wrong with them. They think too much. They question everything. They feel out of place in a world that rewards quick answers instead of deep thinking. But psychology suggests something fascinating. Some of these traits may actually be signs of a rare cognitive pattern, a type of intelligence built from observation, emotional awareness, and complex reflection. So in this video, we're going to explore 10 signs you might have a rare type of intelligence. And the final sign is one psychologists consider one of the clearest indicators of all. You may recognize more of these than you expect. In modern psychology, intelligence is no longer seen as a single number. For decades, society relied heavily on IQ tests to define intelligence. These tests measure logical reasoning, pattern recognition, and memory. But researchers now understand that the human mind is far more complex. Psychologists like Howard Gardner introduced the idea of multiple intelligences, suggesting that intelligence can appear in different forms: emotional, interpersonal, reflective, and creative. And neuroscience supports this idea. Different types of thinking activate different neural networks in the brain. For example, analytical thinking often engages the prefrontal cortex, while emotional awareness involves regions like the anterior cingulate cortex and the amygdala. Some people naturally develop stronger connections between these systems. The result is a mind that observes deeply, reflects constantly, and processes the world with unusual sensitivity. But because this kind of intelligence is quiet and internal, it's often misunderstood. Instead of being recognized as intelligence, it's sometimes labeled as overthinking, introversion, or sensitivity. Yet many psychologists believe these traits can reveal something much deeper about how the brain works. When researchers study people who think deeply and process information differently, they often notice certain behavioral patterns. These patterns aren't random. They reflect how the brain gathers information, processes emotions, and predicts outcomes. In other words, they reveal a unique cognitive style. Psychology has found that people with this type of intelligence often share a collection of subtle but powerful traits. So let's explore 10 signs that may indicate you have a rare form of intelligence. Sign 1. You notice subtle details others overlook. You might pick up on small changes in tone, body language, or energy in a room. While others focus on the obvious, your mind registers tiny signals: hesitation in someone's voice, a shift in mood, or patterns in behavior. This ability is connected to heightened activity in the brain's pattern recognition systems. Your mind is constantly scanning for meaning beneath the surface. What others call intuition is often simply your brain processing information faster and more deeply. Sign 2. You think about things long after they happen. Conversations replay in your mind. You revisit decisions, analyze reactions, and reflect on what something really meant. At times, it can feel exhausting. But this reflective thinking is often linked to the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for introspection and deep internal thought. People with highly active default mode networks tend to analyze life more deeply than others. Sign 3. You question ideas instead of accepting them. Rarely do you take information at face value. Your mind automatically asks, is this true? Why do people believe this? What's the deeper explanation? This curiosity reflects strong activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for critical thinking and complex reasoning. Rather than simply absorbing information, your brain evaluates it. Sign 4. You feel emotions deeply. Emotional depth is often misunderstood. Some people assume strong emotions indicate weakness, but neuroscience shows something different. People who experience emotions intensely often have stronger connections between the amygdala and higher cognitive centers. This means emotional signals are processed with greater awareness. Instead of ignoring feelings, your brain analyzes them. And that emotional insight can lead to deeper understanding of people and relationships. But the next few signs reveal something even more surprising. Because some of the traits that make life harder for deep thinkers are also the ones that make their minds extraordinary. Sign 5. You are comfortable spending time alone. Solitude doesn't necessarily feel lonely to you. Instead, it gives your mind space to think. Research suggests people with higher cognitive complexity often enjoy solitude because it allows uninterrupted mental exploration. Your brain uses quiet moments to organize thoughts and ideas. Sign 6. You are highly self-aware. You regularly reflect on your own behavior. You analyze your reactions and ask yourself difficult questions. Why did I respond that way? What am I really feeling? Self-awareness is strongly connected to activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, a region involved in understanding one's own mental state. This awareness allows you to grow, adapt, and understand yourself more deeply than most people. Sign 7. You often feel different from others. Many people with rare cognitive patterns describe feeling slightly out of sync with the world around them. Conversations can feel shallow, trends can seem confusing, and social expectations sometimes feel artificial. But this difference often reflects a mind that processes information at a deeper level. Your brain simply focuses on things others overlook. And now we reach the signs that psychologists say are the strongest indicators of this rare intelligence. These next traits reveal how your mind interacts with the world around you. All sign 8. You search for meaning in almost everything. Your mind constantly looks for connections. You analyze ideas, behaviors, and life experiences. This pattern of thinking often reflects strong interaction between analytical and emotional networks in the brain. You don't just experience life, you try to understand it. Sign 9. You are naturally empathetic. You can often sense what someone else is feeling without them explaining it. Neuroscience links empathy to specialized brain cells called mirror neurons, which help us simulate the emotions of others. When these systems are highly active, people become more emotionally perceptive. But that sensitivity can also make emotional environments overwhelming. Sign 10. You protect your inner world. One of the clearest signs of rare intelligence is the way you guard your thoughts. You don't reveal everything about yourself immediately. Instead, you choose carefully who you open up to. This isn't secrecy, it's discernment. Your inner world is complex, and you instinctively protect it. From a psychological perspective, these traits reflect something deeper than personality. They show a brain that processes information through multiple systems at once: analytical thinking, emotional awareness, pattern recognition. When these systems interact strongly, the result is a mind that observes more, reflects more, and questions more. But in fast-paced environments, this kind of thinking can feel overwhelming. Society often rewards speed and simplicity. Rare intelligence, however, thrives in depth and complexity. From a clinical psychology perspective, these traits are often seen in people with high cognitive sensitivity. Their brains are highly responsive to both external information and internal emotional signals. This doesn't mean their minds are flawed. It means their brains are processing more information simultaneously. And when individuals learn how to manage this sensitivity through reflection, boundaries, and self-understanding, it can become an incredible strength. If several of these signs felt familiar, it may mean your mind works differently from the average pattern. Not better, not worse, just deeper. Rare intelligence isn't always visible from the outside. It often lives quietly inside people who observe more than they speak, reflect more than they react, and search for meaning beneath the surface of everyday life. And sometimes the greatest strength of this intelligence is the awareness it brings. So now I'm curious, how many of these signs felt familiar to you? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to understand your mind even better, make sure to watch the next video where we explore why deep thinkers often feel misunderstood by the world around them.